Well, John Gibson, E-main event as we get set to go green. Dion Hindi on the pole.
Soil World of Outlaws appearance since being injured in an accident at the Red River Valley Speedway in in Fargo, North Dakota 2 years ago. He paces the field down to the chalk stripe. Doug Clark waves the green flag, and we are underway.
Dion Hindi getting a good start. Matt Wasman running second, Tim Kuhn third, J.R. Patton fourth, and Brian Carlson in that fifth and final transfer.
Kurt Winker runs in sixth, Jamie Zapital seventh. Battle for eighth now between John Lambert from the 77W, Wayne Modjeski. Dion Hindi leads them out of turn number 4 as Brian Carlson looks to the inside of J.R. Patton.
Battle now for that fourth and fifth spot as Brian Carlson tried to make the move but didn't make it work in turns 1 and 2. They go single file down the back straightaway. Kurt Winker 1 spot out of a transfer.
Dion Hindi crosses the stripe to complete lap number 3.
Now Matt Wasman losing ground down the back straightaway. Tim Kuhn up to challenge. That's your race for the second spot. The Wirtz design, kind of a 4W, runs in that second position, but now Tim Kuhn trying to reel him in. That'll be your race for second. J.R. Patton still running in that 4th spot. Brian Carlson still running 5th. Jamie Zapital 6th. Lamberts and Modjeski.
Hindi in the Albuquerque Cabs number 11D opening up the lead now over the 4W of Matt Wasman. 3.2 seconds the advantage for the driver out of Albuquerque, New Mexico. Former Viver and Perseverance Award winner with the Pennzoil World of Outlaws.
Halfway, this time by halfway. 5 down, 5 to go. Dion Hindi still showing the way as he races down the back straightaway. You're there 3.6 seconds the advantage over Matt Wasman.
Kurt Winker still unable to do anything with the Goodson Shop Supplies 18C of Brian Carlson in the battle for that last transfer spot. Winker is still about 8 car lengths behind the 18C as the laps wind down quickly here. Hindi working into turns 3 and 4, about to complete lap number 7. Problems for Kurt Winker, up in smoke out of turn number 2, off the pace in the Winker Engineering number 10W.
Dion Hindi about a straightaway advantage over Matt Wasman, who runs second. And now Matt Wasman under fire once again from Tim Kuhn as J.R. Patton also starting to close in your race for second through 4.
Wasman, Kuhn, and Patton race down the front stretch into turn number 1. Tim Kuhn ducks low, can't make the pass inside, makes some contact with Matt Wasman, able to maintain control of the Landis Incorporated number 2C. Dion Hindi looks at the white flag, half a mile for him remaining in tonight's E-main.
Well, Brian Carlson still trying to make his way into tonight's feature event as he made a dive at J.R. Patton in turn 3. Didn't make it work.
Checkered flag waving, your E-main winner in the Albuquerque Cabs 11D, Dion Hindi, racing for second through the final corner. It's Tim Kuhn with the outside maneuver around the 4W of Matt Wasman to claim the runner-up spot.
Matt Wasman running 3rd, J.R. Patton running 4th.
02X Mike Rinke, 5T Mark Taves in row 2, 11L Larry Pinniger, 14C Jimmy Carter in row 3, then 92 Michael Lambert, 48 Doran Doty, 2M Matt Morrow, 72 Dwayne Bonini, 3B Bob Bennett, 56W Chris Walraven, 88K Steve King, 66 Aaron Berryhill, 9 Travis Whitney, 1AX Christy Passmore, 1W Tim Monson, F1 Ryan Flynn, 11D Dion Hindi, 70 Linton Jeffrey, 2C Tim Kuhn, 4W Matt Wasman, 86X J.R. Patton, and the 18C of Brian Carlson.
Green flag.
Not a very good start for Wayne Johnson as Mike Goodman got around, as did Mike Rinke, but Johnson gets back by in turns 1 and 2. It's Mike Goodman, Wayne Johnson, Mike Rinke, and then the battle for the 4th spot between the 14C of Jim Carter and the 5T of Mark Taves. Both those drivers 1 position away from a transfer. Last spot held down by the 02X of Mike Rinke.
Mike Goodman showing the way off turn 4, your race leader.
Matt Wasman off the pace. Tim Kuhn a little off the pace in 1 and 2. Brings it back up to speed now entering turn number 3.
Now Matt Morrow starting to close in on Mark Taves as they race off turn number 2. Keep in mind, only the top 3 cars will transfer on to the Vibrant C main event.
Three laps down, 9 laps remaining. Mike Goodman with a 1.5 second advantage over the 29 of Wayne Johnson. 02X the pit stop pizza entry of Mike Rinke holding down the 3rd and final transfer spot. Then it's the 14C of Jim Carter, 5T of Mark Taves, the 2M of Matt Morrow, and the 92 of Kevin Huntley.
A little smoke starting to show up. Car number 2M of Matt Morrow. Your leader, Mike Goodman, now entering into traffic as they race into turn number 2. Wayne Johnson still running second. Mike Reinke third. Jimmy Carter fourth. Your race for fifth. Mark Taves and Matt Morrow battle it out down the back straightaway.
Taves up on the cushion. Morrow down on the low side of the speedway. Tries to make the move out of turn number 4. Not quite able to get it done. Taves will continue to hold the position across the start-finish line.
More smoke showing off the 2M of Matt Morrow as your leader, Mike Goodman, working lap traffic.
Tim Kuhn a lap down to the leader as he looks at the crossed flags now and make that 7 laps down. 7 laps down just past the halfway point for Mike Goodman in the C&W Motorsports number 3. Still a 1.4 second advantage over Wayne Johnson's 29 entry.
Well, Mike Goodman seems to have things figured out, Johnny, as he works through lap traffic. Now takes his car to the bottom side of the speedway through turns 1 and 2.
Wayne Johnson a little hung up behind the 2C of Tim Kuhn, and that allows Jim Carter to take the final transfer spot away from the pit stop pizza 02 of Mike Reinke.
Now Jim Carter sets his sights on Wayne Johnson down the back straightaway as they both race the lap car of Tim Kuhn. The leader, though, Mike Goodman, checking out down the front chute.
Jim Carter holding that third and final transfer spot. Carter has only raced in about 18 races this entire season thus far, spending most of his time at the Skagit Speedway up in the Pacific Northwest. He's got an experienced crew chief, though, somebody who knows the Knoxville Raceway in the form of Rob Hart out of New York, a former crew chief for Jeff Swindell when Jeff won a preliminary feature during the Amoco Knoxville Nationals.
This time by, white flags out for your race leader, Mike Goodman. He's picked up his luggage from the red carpet and checked out of the field as he races down the back chute.
Goodman racing into turns 3 and 4. Meanwhile, Jim Carter trying to grab second from Wayne Johnson, running out of time and room, though. Mike Goodman takes the checkered flag as your Napa D-Main winner. Second spot will go to Wayne Johnson, and Jim Carter in the third and final transfer position. The 40th running of the Amoco Knoxville Nationals. It's the 51 of Jared Hall, the 0 of Billy Wilburn in row 1, 70 Calvin Landis, 3S Ricky Logan in row 2, 2F Brad Furr, 10T Tim Kading in row 3, the 12 of Brent Ansell, the 00 of Jason Statler in row 4, 16X Bill Robertson, 51J Ryan Jameson in the 5th row, 7K Keith Kaufman, 1S Kerry Madsen, 14M Jason Myers, 10X Len Thompson, 18 of Rocky Hodges, 9H Shane Stewart, 20E Brian Ellenberger, 19W Bob Weave, 61 Joe Rowe, 3M Mike Goodman, 29 Wayne Johnson, and the 14C of Jim Carter.
Green flag.
And again, Billy Wilburn with a poor start falls back to third as Ricky Logan uses the high side of the speedway to challenge Jared Hall for the lead. It's Jared Hall out in front, Ricky Logan second, and Tim Kading third as they race to 3 and 4.
Len Thompson seems to have found something working on the high side. Now ducks to the bottom side as he works his way up through the field. Brad Furr now working on Tim Kading down the back straightaway.
Thompson passed 8 cars on that first lap, moving from 14th up to 6th. Battle for the lead out of turn number 4. Ricky Logan up high. Jared Hall holding the bottom and holding the lead as we complete lap number 2.
Logan working hard on the high side, tries to take over the top spot in turn 2. Reels in Jared Hall down the back straightaway. They go nose to tail into turn 3.
Logan again up on the cushion. Jared Hall on the bottom of the speedway. Battle for the lead goes wheel to wheel and side by side. Who's it going to be at the stripe? Too close to call. The computer says it was Ricky Logan.
Well, Ricky Logan gets up over the marbles and tries to gather, remember, loses a little ground down the back straightaway. Tim Kading still running third, Brad Furr running fourth. Now Calvin Landis in fifth and Len Thompson sixth.
New leader is Jared Hall in the Web Racing number 51. His advantage over Ricky Logan back up to 0.6 of a second as Brad Furr and Calvin Landis try to reel in the Compton Shakers 10T of Tim Kading. Those drivers racing for 3rd, 4th, and 5th, all out of the transfer spot. They need to get hustling if they want to try to make it to tonight's Channel Lock B main.
Well, Calvin Landis definitely trying to make his way forward as Brent Antill gets a good run on Lynn Thompson into turn 4. But Calvin Landis reeling in the big guy, Brad Furr.
Jared Hall having his way with the field now, but he's going to be approaching lap traffic in the form of the CJ's 2-tap 19W of Bob Weave.
Halfway as your leader came by this time, halfway.
Jared Hall, your leader. Battle for the final transfer spot now shaping up between Tim Kading and the 3S of Ricky Logan.
Logan able to hang on to the spot as the race into turns 3 and 4, but now Kading ducks to the bottom side, tries to take the low groove on the speedway, doesn't make it work off turn 4, files in line. Now Brad Furr also closing in on those two cars down the back chute.
Wheel-to-wheel racing for the second and final transfer spot. Kading makes the move on the inside, slides up to take the racing groove away. Brad Furr right there as well, going to try to take third from Ricky Logan down the front stretch into turns 1 and 2.
Well, your leader's into heavy traffic as they race through turns 1 and 2. Jared Hall still showing the way down the back chute, 2.05 seconds the advantage. Jared Hall over Tim Kading.
Brad Furr onto the high side of the speedway, makes the move around the Lucas Oil Products 3S of Ricky Logan. Brad Furr now up to third, needs to get by one more car to transfer into tonight's Channel Lock B main. He's got a little bit of distance to gain if he wants to catch up with Tim Kading's 10T.
Well, things definitely changing on Ricky Logan's car as Calvin Landis moves up a spot. Now Rocky Hodges off the pedal. Rocky Hodges bringing out the yellow flag over in turn number 2. Keep your eye on Brad Furr. One spot out of a transfer. Oh, the nose wing, John, coming up on the 14C.
And a problem for Jim Carter. It looks like he might have gotten in the back of Tim Kading's 10T, and that allowed Kading to get a little bit of advantage over the 2F of Brad Furr. We complete lap number 13. It's Hall, Kading, and Furr, your top 3. Calvin Landis trying to move in on the same. Trouble on the front stretch. It's Lynn Thompson in the 10X. Jared Hall setting a fairly slow pace into turn number 4. Now he jumps on the loud pedal. We go back to green flag racing. Calvin Landis, a great start there, trying to look to the bottom, but Brad Furr went down there to block. Makes the move successful as he gets around Tim Kading for the transfer position.
Tim Kading going back to third. Now Jason Myers challenging Calvin Landis in turns 3 and 4. Landis with the advantage makes over into that 4th spot. White flag, Jared Hall, 1 to go.
Final trip around the Knoxville Raceway in tonight's Viper in C main, and Jared Hall leads it. Brad Furr runs second. Tim Kading's got one more corner to try to get that transfer spot back. 3 wide back in the pack down the back straightaway. Checkered flag waving for the 51 of Jared Hall.
Brad Furr running second, Tim Kading third, Calvin Landis fourth, Jason Myers fifth, Brent Antill.
1M Don Trout Jr., 1X Randy Hannigan in the front row, 9W Gary Wright, 47 Randy Anderson in row 2. Row 3 finds the 02 of Manny Rockhold alongside the 0M of Peter Murphy. Then it's the 6 of Jimmy Carr, 53K Skip Jackson, 88H Lance DeWeese, 4F Danny Smith, the 2L Evans Jr., 21W Danny Wood, 6K Kenny Jacobs, 7S Tim St. Arnold, 15K Chad Kemanaugh, 55 Terry McCarl, 19 Stevie Smith, V12 Greg Hodnett, 29N Larry Neighbors, 5J Jeff Matrician, 51 Jared Hall, and the 2F of Brad Furr.
Stroud sets the pace. We're green.
Down into turns 1 and 2. Don Trout Jr., your race leader. Randy Hannigan running second. Gary Wright third. Now a 3-car battle for fourth shaping up.
Stevie Smith